I would like to ask you, how did we get here? What is the Israeli Hasbara missing? And what can we do to change that and explain ourselves better? Because right now it looks very bad for us in the world.
The Hasbara organizations are part of the problem. For years, they've been trying to present Israel as an outpost of Western civilization in the Semitic region, which only strengthens the claim that we're just like a settler colony in the Middle East. Even if they use the word indigenous now, they're still making Israel look like an outpost of Western civilization. And even if you look at the pro-Israel demonstrations that took place in the United States, they all have, Israeli flags and American flags. You ever see a Palestinian demonstration with American flags? No, of course not, right? And so in terms of what Adiel, right? In terms of what Adiel mentioned, it's not as simple as saying we're indigenous. Because the truth is, we're a people that was displaced from here thousands of years ago and came back using the tools of settler colonialism. You could look at the Zionist movement as an indigenous people's liberation movement, and from another angle, you can look at it as a colonial project. And both are partially true, because we're complicated. We're the only people I could think of we're the only example in history that I know of a people that was displaced from its land, actually maintained its identity for 2,000 years, and came back and achieved political independence in the land it was displaced from. But we used the tools that were available to us at the time, and those tools were colonial tools. And I think now, without getting into who was what and what did who, I think right now we need to focus on how we can move forward, and that means the aspects, the features of our coming home that hurt another people need to be addressed, and need to be addressed by us. Meaning the Jews in Judea are not the Americans in Afghanistan or the French in Algeria. The problem is we sometimes behave like we are, and that hurts people. And if we want to say we're indigenous, we should act like we're indigenous and stop acting like colonizers. And that means that's part of tshuva. That's part of returning to our real identity. In fact, I would actually say that Palestinians are very much victims of the Jewish identity crisis, us not having this post-colonial conversation, because I think everything, in my experience, everything that I think Palestinians feel deeply oppressed by here are expressions, are features of our identity crisis. And if we actually figure out who we are and what we're doing here, we'd be able to create systems and policies and a reality between the river and the sea that both people can feel happy in.